And what you've just seen, I think, is the tip of the Faz Shah iceberg. Because Faz, you've got a first-class degree in classical music. Faz is a composer working across a wide range of genres, including Arabic, pop and fusion. Faz will say himself that his mixed race has given him access to a range of styles, so he's been brought up with music from the East, music from the West, and bringing traditional classical music to 21st century digital and beatbox. He's also a very experienced bedroom producer. Yeah. An experienced music.
You know what I'm saying. You know what I'm saying. You know what I'm saying.
It's a thing. You're an experienced music tutor and project facilitator. Faz is also on the board of Peshkar Productions. And quite a few years ago now, you were the first person to achieve Gold Arts Award in the Northwest. I think, yeah, that's great. We're really proud of that. And now you've been running your own company. You've worked with Music Action International, working with refugee and asylum-seeking children and young people. And you are about to, we heard it here first, I think. You are about to launch a new company, music education company called Message Studios. So how old were you when you first started thinking that music was actually a thing that you were really interested in?
I never really came to a point where I thought, oh, I'm going to pursue this. I think it's when I was around 6 years old. I started in, my parents wanted to give me the best start possible. They put me into private school, and they thought, well, let's see how he gets on. The problem was I couldn't sit still for more than 5 minutes. Found it very, very difficult. Hated concentrating, couldn't focus at all. Became a real nuisance, so they thought, okay, why don't we give you either sports or we'll give you music. And so I was already into sports anyway. I was always running up and down the walls, so they thought, okay, well, he's already doing that. So they gave me the violin. They said, they opened it up to the class. They said, he wants to learn the violin. I said, yeah, okay, I'll try. And since then, I never really, apart from a couple of years after that where my parents couldn't afford the tuition, but it's been really quite consistent from then. I never really realized I was good until people started asking me to play. So my father was not supportive at the beginning because he's wondering what the community is going to say. So in the Asian community and the Islamic community, what's it going to say? That's not a profession. You know, that's not a profession. So he was worried, you know, and of course if I'm going to drop it, then he'll be like, oh yeah, I told you so, yeah, you know, and yeah. But as soon as I started knocking out some melodies that he liked, he thought, sod this, I really like this, and the community went with him on that. So that's quite cool. But yeah, the support from my parents and everything was really good. But yeah, started in like a private school. I didn't last very long in that system. Went into the state school where things got a bit more difficult for me, but we'll get into that a bit later. But yeah, I never really came to a point where I'm good at it, I'm going to continue. It kind of was just going. It was, I guess it was out of my hands really. It was, I guess life just sort of took me there, and that's how I'm doing music, you know.
So who were the people that supported you along that way? Were they traditional music teachers? So you've already talked about your father not supporting and then supporting.
Yeah.
You know.
I mean, I think, yeah, traditional music tutors. I mean, bless her, I mean, she's passed away now, but my first music tutor, Anne Heeks, she really put her foot down and really told me, well, no, you can't do whatever you want. You practice at scale or you don't come back next week, you know. And I thought, you what? So that sort of approach, she was firm, but she understood me quite well. She was very good for me. She was very kind. I made her sound really nasty, no, she wasn't. But yeah, she had that sort of solidarity, them roots that I needed. I could really learn how to focus myself, you know, through music. Yeah, it's really helped me with other aspects of my life, music and disciplining myself, focus, sitting still doing this, you know.
So sitting still is quite a challenge for you.
Yeah, absolutely.
So what other challenges have there been while you've been learning music as a young person and then developing your own music?
I think I'm sort of caught in a bit of crosshairs. I was caught in a bit of a sticky spot. I think one, because of my age, and also the surrounding environment. I am mixed race. My father is Pakistani, Pashtun, and my mum is English. That was a problem for many people around me when I was growing up, especially in the area where there were the race riots. I hate calling them race riots. It's like, but yeah, the riots. But then in 2001 in Oldham, and I was kind of in the tail end of that. So everyone this community was really torn. So we're like, well, where are you? Where do you fit in school? Yeah, that was quite difficult. That was a difficult time, and especially playing the violin as well. That just didn't resonate at all. But it opened the way to beatboxing.
Oh yeah. So you've got violin playing, classical violin playing.
Yeah.
And then you started. Well, how old were you when you started doing beatboxing?
Maybe 13.
Okay.
Around 13.
Okay.
Yeah. The beatboxing was very much a street thing, and YouTube hadn't really taken off properly yet. It was around, but everyone, I think that even the teachers at the school at the time, it's a phase, it'll die down. Yeah. Yeah. So the YouTube hadn't taken off, so I didn't really have an outlet, or the young people didn't have an outlet to see or know what beatboxing was, unless you're in the game. I started. I was doing music. I was doing a music project with GMAS, which is now changed to Brighter Sound. I think we have some representatives here from Brighter Sound. I was on one of their projects, and they brought a beatboxer in called Kieran. He was quite an intimidating lad, you know, and he just did all kinds of. I mean,
do you want to hear a bit of beatboxing?
Yeah. So. I mean, I just never heard anything like it. I thought, how is a human mouth able to make those harsh sounds, loud sounds, percussive sounds, but yeah. So he did like a basic. So in the beatboxing world, this is like what we'd call like the basics of beatboxing. Sounds pretty difficult, but these, believe it or not, beatboxing has really evolved since these days. But that was the level, and I couldn't believe it. I thought he plugged something in. I thought, yeah, you know, don't lie, man. You know, I thought, come on. He said, do you want to learn how to do it? I said, of course I want to learn how to do it. I mean, it's cheap. My family was, yeah. We didn't have a lot of money. I thought it's cheap, and I don't need a microphone to do it. So that's a big myth. Oh, you need a microphone to do beatboxing. It's not true. I mean, I don't know if people at the back will be able to hear this, but if you use your diaphragm properly, you can do it like without the microphone as well, and that is how it started. There were a lot of gangs in school, and also rivalry within different schools as well within the area, and I started a lot of street battles of beatboxing, and I became known as not either or the packy kid or whatever they used to say. Pardon me if that offends anyone. But that was a word. Or Gora as well. Gora is a white boy. So I was either one or the other. I was never. You can see the categories, right? Quite defined. Instead of being called that, it was the guy that makes beats, man. He's a beat maker. He's a danger beat. He's a danger beat. So that was my nickname then for a little while, Danger Beat. Yeah. And then I was also doing, because it was beatboxing, so it was Faz Shah. Faz Shah was another one in other schools, Danger Beat, Faz Shah, And then I just thought, you know, F-A-S, that's my initials, Farhan Amir Shah, F-A-S, Faz. So F-A-Z, I just turned it to Faz. So this is like where the name came from anyway, but it evolved like that. And the beatboxing really did help a social issue in my life. That was a really low point for me. I remember it just became, going to school was one of the, let's hope that we don't get punched today, or who am I going to punch so that I don't get punched? This was the choice, you know, and so how can you concentrate in lessons when this is the reality? But beatboxing, I managed to create a barrier, so at least I was known for something, you know? Creating these beats, it was quite cool, you know? It's still cool for a lot of the youth today. You know, I may not be able to do, some beatboxers, they do 5 things at the same time and they go for international beatboxing competitions. You don't even need to do that. You do not need to be the best. If you can make beats, you are instantly accessible. That's what it is. And so I guess it kind of resonated with the community that I was living in, you know. Yeah.
Great, thank you very much for that. So as you know, Faz, the theme of this conference is youth voice, young people. I'm particularly highly qualified to be here because a long time ago, I was a young person, and you're even closer to being a young person than I am. So as a young person, what kinds of things did you feel that you had to do to get your voice heard? Did you feel that your voice was heard as you were growing up as a young musician?
I think young person, it's just frustration age. No one listens to you. This is in general, this is just life. No one listens to you. You're too young to be taken seriously, but old enough that you should know what you're doing. Yeah. So which one is it? You know, yeah. And so we've categorized young people as being, you know, full of angst and rebellious, you know, but finding a voice is all part of that process. Beatboxing was part of finding a voice for myself in an environment that was quite volatile. Violin also gifted me a voice later on. I was able to bring some of the melodies that my father and the village that we're from in Pakistan, was able to bring some of the melodies alive in the song that you just heard. Some of the melodies I sort of chopped and changed and brought it up to date and sort of revitalized it in different ways. It's not a sample, I've not ripped it, it's in the same style, and that's sort of how it sounds. So the violin gives a voice for another community, and it will resonate with different parts of society in different ways. The beatboxing is with the youth, you know? So when finding a voice, I think, especially in music, we tend to think that we need to go all out. As a young person, we need to shed the layers off, which is, it takes all sort of shapes and forms, you know. But young people finding voices and stuff, you know, it's like, I don't know, it's difficult. I mean, even when you do find your voice, you feel, oh, I still need to be searching for my voice, you know. Yeah. So, what about young people who are not searching for their voice? Who do maybe have parents who have a little bit of money, who can give their child the education. What about them? Or that they're not really young people because they're not trying to find their voice, you know? It's like it's all about social and economic advantage and disadvantage, and we tend to think of the young people finding their voice as being those who are, you know, disadvantaged, but it's really young people on a whole, you know, that's sort of going through that. But anyway, I don't know if that was answering your question.
No, that's good. Thank you very much. I mean, we've got a lot of people here who are decision makers. We've got a lot of music services, music education hubs. I think you've got a connection to one.
Yeah, Oldham Music Centre.
Where's
Oldham Music? Gerard, where are you?
Yeah.
There he is. Yeah. I went to Oldham Music Centre, and Gerard was there. He conducted me in the Oldham Youth Orchestra. So I'm so glad to see you today. I was asking about you before, you know.
Yeah. So we're here. We've been discussing today already. How can we consult with young people? How can we engage with young people? Give on reflection on the journey that you've been on. What advice would you give people like Jerry and the other leaders of music hubs and music services? Those who can make decisions. How can they listen to young people?
Yeah, so decision makers. We have to be very careful, you know, as decision makers. We have to be very, very careful. We think that to make decisions, yeah, we've got an establishment to run, an institution to run. But also, if we're not seen to be listening to young people, then we could be caught out, you know. So then some decision makers go from one extreme to the other, where either they don't listen to young people at all, or they only listen to young people and nothing gets done. Yeah. So this is the reality. Yeah. Oh, it's youth-led. What does that mean? It's youth-led. You know. I'm like, oh, so who's managing it? Oh, it's the youth. I'm like, who's teaching them? Oh, it's the youth. I'm like, oh, well, that's the extreme, you know. So I think that there needs to be a young person, in my mind, has to be, of course, has to be listened to, but also as a decision maker, we need to know also what is their environment. We're in a position where we're able to assess at a level that maybe they are not able to. Yeah. So, for example, I'll give you an example. Bedroom producers. I class myself as one, but it generated laughter within the room. As if, is that a thing? That is very much a thing. There are so many bedroom producers sitting at home, producing their own things, doing their own music, without any access to any music service. You would never hear of them. How are they going to come to your music centre? How are you going to engage them? But we tend to think, oh, well, as a music hub, we've got a budget, or we've got hoops to jump through. That's true. Yeah, you're right. But also, they're sitting at home with nothing, and if they haven't got any dosh, if they're not putting it into their music, what else are they putting it into? Yeah, I think this is one of the reasons why I'm starting Message Studios, is to bring them bedroom DJs. Bedroom DJs are kind of on the way out, but in terms of everyone was doing it, now everyone is sort of like going on to bedroom producers. They like that term, producer, bedroom producer. You know? So bringing them into the studio, teaching them, bringing them in. I mean, that is music after all. Yeah, that is music. That is like at its rawest form. If you want to know what young people are doing with their music, go to the bedroom producers. They're the ones with initiative. They have the initiative to buy something, to do it at home, but not tell anyone about it. Yeah?
So we have got some young people here today. Some of them have, unfortunately, have had to leave to get home.
Oh, yeah.
So,
Yeah,
but what message or what advice have you got for young people who are here about making their voice heard? They're already doing quite a good job. I know we've spoken about social media.
Yeah. I think young people, there is a wider issue surrounding young people. Some of them may be aware of it, and some of them may not be aware of it. And that is social media. That is basically there to serve our needs. But I can tell you from experience and from my own surveys that I've conducted myself, that a lot of the time that the social media is the reason they don't get out of bed in the morning, or they can't get out of bed. Now I'm talking about above maybe around the 15, 16 onwards, you know, up to let's say up to 23, 24, this age, highly at risk. By the time they've gone through their Snapchat in the morning, the first thing they do, they get up in the morning, the alarm is the phone. They look at the phone. But then you see all the notifications at the top. Even on the adults, you know, we see an email from work, and sometimes even adults, you know, we reply to emails from bed. We don't even get out of bed. There's no process, yeah? So there's no downtime, there's no uptime. So the young person, they're the same, you know, the Snapchat, the Instagram, this, that, and the other. So then they look at all the stories of everyone in their life. Everyone in their life. They've all putting stories up. Either gone to the gym this morning, morning walk, nutritional whatever potion, yeah, whatever they've made, are just in the studio making beats. That's one, making this beat, da 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 da. Everything is on show. So by the time they get out of bed, there's a pang of anxiety. I need to be doing something as well. What am I doing? And then the last person, they put their phone down, they've had enough. So the last person they don't want to speak to anyone else. By the time they spoke to their mum and dad at home, their mum and dad's wondering, why are they not speaking to me? Well, they shut off. They're on their phone. They don't speak to, I don't know what's going on in their head. Yeah? So that social media is the domain of young people. So as soon as we catch on to that, as soon as we make our music services accessible and a home online, get them on there. For example, a YouTube channel needs to be a young person led. Music service should have, or I mean, if by any means, I don't give the money, I'm just making the, you know, I'm giving you the ideas or whatever, I don't know, but you could make your own assessment, but a YouTube channel is the absolute basic. It's the bedrock of social media. You know, YouTube is the first thing. Oh, what have you got? Music Centre. Are you on YouTube? Oh yeah, we've got a YouTube channel, but if it's a YouTube channel and it's some not very well put together videos, you need a department for that. You need to get out there, get some quality videos out there. So young people are like, yeah, come here. And you can make the next video if you come here. Access our services for 6 months. We teach you how to make the music video for the music service. That is something that they're interested in. You know, it's all on here. You know, on the device. You know, all the bedroom producers, bedroom DJs. I think that there is a large portion of young people who are out there who are not being tapped into in terms of, you know, their music, consolidating that. So.
Great, thank you. So where can we follow you and find out more about your music?
About me?
Yeah.
YouTube.
Yeah.
You can go on YouTube. Some of the videos are really not very good. I mean, if I started, yeah, they're really not. But you can follow me on.
You want to get some young people in to help you, don't you?
Yeah, I need young people to help me with that. But no, the Instagram, Faz Shah Music, YouTube as well. Just type in Faz Shah. I should be knocking about over there doing something remotely useful.
Okay, great. And I'm really pleased to hear that your new is
Message Studios, yeah. It's not a thing yet. You're the first to hear about it. I've got the space and I'm building it, so that's where we're at the moment.
Great. So, okay. Yeah. So on behalf of everybody here, I'd like to thank you very much for giving us
thank you.
Quite a lot of food for thought, I think. So thank you very much, Faz.